Yeah, welcome to Success Channel. Today we are going to discuss about settlement letter. We have esteemed speaker Mr. Rohit Salwan. He has more than 18 years experience into litigation, non-litigation, recovery of amounts due. And I'm Abhijit Tople. I'm head of legal Geo Financial Services. Let us start. So, Rohit, my question is, what is settlement letter in a recovery of amounts due?
So settlement letter means whenever a financial company or a bank wants to settle its due with its delinquent customer. So obviously they'll propose a settlement on a table to that delinquent customer. So in order to draft, in order to carve out the modalities of a settlement, we need to draft a settlement letter which talks about all the modalities, the repayment things, the EMI slots which he needs to adhere to as a fiscal discipline. So all those need things needs to be put in a settlement kind of a letter, or MOU will also call it, memorandum of understanding, memorandum of settlement. We call it settlement letter also. So all those modalities need to be put, in a one format. That is what we will call it as a settlement letter.
Okay. So just to add here, what I have observed that recovery team usually draft these settlement letters without taking any opinion from a legal team. Since all the terms and conditions added to the settlement letter will play against your organization, ideally these drafts should be vetted by your legal team, because whatever settlement terms you are adding to this particular letter, that will definitely have impact on the loan agreement. So there should be those terms conditions in the said agreement. So Rohit, when you execute a settlement letter, अभी सुनाई दे रहा है?
Now better.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
When you execute a settlement letter.
Hmm. So settlement letter is executed when well, we'll put all the modalities, all the settlement terms into a shape of a settlement letter, and both the parties, the borrower, the delinquent customer, and the bank or the financial institutions, both agreed on a one single point, how to settle out any delinquent account for that matter. It may be a multiple account also, it may be a single account also. So all those accounts has to be put into a single settlement letter, and when it is prepared, all the parties are agreed, then it is ready for its execution also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who signs that letter basically?
So, from banks or the financial institution perspective, authorized representative, either it is from a recovery or a collection department or from a legal department, however it works, within the organization. So that person will sign, and from the borrower side, from the borrower's perspective, borrower himself can sign, or somebody, if borrower is a corporate, somebody who is an authorized person of that corporate holding a board resolution or a power of attorney or authority letter, for that matter. So he can also sign on a settlement letter.
Okay. And what is the process of getting this, draft of settlement letter?
So as we discussed, all the points which needs to be negotiated, be negotiation terms, be it the payment modalities, be it the tenure in which we need to structure a loan. Maybe it's a loan for a 5 year. We are giving a kind of a restructuring, so that amount or a moratorium that we need to give to a customer for a month or 2 months or for a 3 months time. Or maybe if we are not settling the entire loan agreement, but only a delinquent amount, or which is an outstanding or overdue amount, I should say. So overdue amounts can also be settled by virtue of a settlement agreements that needs to be agreed. If there is any asset attached to it, so we need to understand if that asset is repossessed, we need to hold till the entire amounts materialize or realize in the books of the banks. Or if that the asset is not still repossessed, then a binding term that the bank will not repossess that asset. So all these kinds of terms all needs to be put into the settlement letter.
Okay. And to which team actually you should approach for getting this draft settlement letter? And what are the
So
roles of other departments also?
correct. So basically, only two departments generally, coordinates in order to execute a settlement letter. One is the collection recovery, which is the face of the entire settlement term, because that's the department. Those executives, the collection or the recovery executives, they are the the first person who are in touch with the customer, they will freeze all the modalities of a settlement with the customer. Then they will table all those, work out with the legal department, then give it a shape to a, workable settlement deed or a workable MOU kind of thing. Generally, most of the companies have a standard deed of settlement also, which is ready, and which is actually good practice, because more or less, it's kind of a same, on a same line, all these draft generally carve out. So so we have a standard draft for also, but in order to sometime, every settlement comes with a, little different flavor. So in order to tweak out that particular transaction, we need to do some kind of vetting, some kind of additions, we need to modify that kind of standard draft. So that's how it can also work. Either you'll have a fresh MOU, fresh settlement deed, or you can tweak out, you can, modify the settlement deed in order to put that entire deal into a correct format, which is agreed by both the parties.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess internally also, the recovery team should approach their finance or who is responsible to take decision on the settlement amount and take internal approvals and then only add those terms condition in a settlement letter.
Correct. So
Yeah.
all the approvals needs to be taken by the respective departments, and either of the department has to ensure that before executing that settlement letter or before giving a word to a customer, appropriate approval should be taken from the correct authorities. Yeah.
Right. Now, will this settlement letter help you in a litigation? And should you actually store these letters for records?
Absolutely, this becomes, it's a juxtapose, or it's like a, the add-on to a financial agreement, and this document becomes very, very critical. Look, if it is a from an outstanding dues perspective, if entire agreement is not settled vis-a-vis the settlement letter, only outstanding dues, then also it becomes a very critical documents to prove in order to, in the eventuality of a breach of any terms and conditions by either of the party, right? Like non-payment or any adherence of any release of security, anything. So it becomes very critical from the banking or from the financial institutions perspective to store these documents, and it should also flag those settlements in their what do you call it, in their systems also, for that matter. Because if you're settling the entire you know if you're settling the entire agreement from that perspective, maybe you have given a leeway on some, EMIs also. So all the entire loan also needs to be structured in the system from operational point of view also. So this settlement deed becomes very critical document once you're settling with the customer. Yes, in the eventuality of what do you call, the breach of that settlement terms, then obviously we need to go back. It has to be drafted in a way that we need to, in the eventuality of a breach of the settlement term, we need to go back to the terms of the agreement to follow that. Yeah.
And what is the effect of this settlement on a loan?
Correct. So as I said, because if this letter becomes a part and parcel of the entire financial agreement, even if it's outstanding, if it's for an outstanding dues, then obviously the settlement letter will be read for that outstanding dues, and rest of the, agreement will be adhere for the future term, for the future installments. But if it is for the entire loan agreement, you have settled the entire loan agreement for, suppose the tenure has already been lapsed for any finance agreement, we are settling it, for full and final kind of one kind of settlement, table offer we have given to the borrower or a delinquent customer. So in that case also, this agreement will supersede the loan agreement till the time it is honored by both the parties. But if it is a breach, then obviously we need to go back, to our earlier position, to our, terms of the loan agreement. Again, the terms of the loan agreement will be read and interpreted, and the bank or the financial institutions will go according to the terms of the loan agreement, not according to the terms of the settlement letter, because it becomes void the moment either of the parties will not stick to the terms of the settlement letter. Yeah.
Right. So basically, this is very, very important document. You should get it drafted from your legal, right? And then
Yeah.
the internal approval should be there for issuing any such settlement letter to the defaulter,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
yeah. So it was a great discussion, Rohit, and thank you very much for joining Success Channel and sharing your knowledge. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.